Hey, what is up, everybody? Kenji here, and I'm with Steven Matsumoto, big guy in social media, and thought you'd like to know a little bit more about him. And so, first off, Mr. Matsumoto, thank you very much for talking with me.
Not a problem, Kenji. How you doing today?
Living the dream, Steven.
Wonderful.
So, Steven, you're a big guy into social media. Curious why you like it.
I just enjoy the engagement, and I am very much a Socratic learner, so the engagement and the dialogue is very intriguing, and it allows me to expand my own thought processes by, listening to what others have to say, sometimes challenging it and seeing what their position is, and the little dialogue back and forth. So I find that very intriguing and enlightening.
Very, very cool. And so, how are you utilizing social media?
Uh, Very active on Twitter primarily. I do have profiles on other local social media sites like Biznick. Of course, everyone's got to have a LinkedIn and a Facebook profile. But primarily, I use it as mostly a public relations type tool to let people know, okay, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm about. To talk about my company, Stigmare, as well as an upcoming event that Stigmare is producing, Emerald City Fashion Week. Uh, Great way of, I think, proving value and showing what my thought process is before a potential client comes to me.
hmm Very cool. And so, for those who don't know, could you talk a little bit about Stigmar and what you do?
Certainly, Stigmare is my couture marketing and product development company. We work primarily with the fashion and lifestyle industry with consumer engagement programs, gift with purchase programs, and of course helping them utilize social media to their advantage.
hmm Very cool. And so you also mentioned that Stigmar is putting on an event.
Yes, we are in the midst of planning Emerald City Fashion Week, which is going to be catering to a uniquely Northwest lifestyle, as well as incorporating some of the traditional couture events that you would associate with a fashion week. Tentatively, we're shooting for a fall event, but that may just be kind of a prelude to a much bigger and larger event.
hmm Very, very cool. And so clearly you're a big guy into fashion, and I imagine I'll probably won't be there because I don't know anything about fashion, but I will happily tell people about it. It's a very cool because it doesn't seem like there's that much going on as far as Seattle fashion goes.
Well, there's a lot of actual little events in Seattle, but they're all very isolated and pocketed. So hopefully we can use Emerald City Fashion Week as a way of bringing some of these smaller events together and giving them a much larger venue so that they can really promote themselves. As opposed to doing just a small one-day event, they can be part of a multi-day event and give them some more time and maybe help reduce some of the expense that they have to incur out of pocket by spreading that across multiple sponsors and multiple designers.
And so, other things that you're involved in, you and Jean-Luc David put on a tweetup in Bellevue. Could you talk a little bit about that, why you do it? Yeah.
Well, basically, Jean-Luc and I met on Twitter, and we kind of kicked it off. And the one thing that we noticed when we had our first little coffee clatch is that there really aren't a lot of regular Twitter events on the East Side. And if you look at Twitter, a lot of the Twitterers in the Seattle area are on the East Side. So we figured it's not always convenient to get across the bridge, so we wanted to do something that was unique to the East Side, and the Bellevue Tweetup was what we came up with. Our first one was at Monsoons in downtown Bellevue on Old Main, and we had a great attendance for it, so it was a great event, and we decided that, okay, we want to do this on a regular monthly basis so that people can always count on having the opportunity to have a tweet up in Bellevue at least once a month and just unplug and actually interact like human beings are supposed to face.
Yeah. No, I love it. I know you had your last one at the Tap House here in Bellevue, and it was great. You had how many people there?
I think we had about 60 people there.
Wow. Yeah, it was a great turnout, and I'm definitely looking forward to more. Now, we're I had a question. Where'd it go? So if people follow you on Twitter, what could they expect?
Um, A lot of sarcasm. I try to have fun with it. I try to be as genuine as I can. I've been told by many of the folks that I've met offline after they followed me on Twitter that the me on Twitter is the me in real life, so I take that as a compliment because
Yeah.
it's really easy to be something you're not when there's that barrier between you.
Sure.
So I just try to be genuine, and you're either gonna like what I have to say or you're not, and that's okay with me. I've met some great people that I've had very articulate debates about different socioeconomic ideologies. So, but I'm gonna talk probably a little bit about my own personal belief system. I'm gonna talk a lot about marketing and branding, and definitely gonna tell people it's like, listen, if you're not here to engage, don't get involved.
Sure.
I'm not a big fan of a lot of the affiliate marketers out there, and I'll tell them it's like, I don't mind if you follow me and I'll follow you back, but if all you're doing is spamming everybody,
Right.
you're defeating the point of what social media is, because it's an engagement medium.
Right. Very cool. And so, quickly, if people want to find out more information about either Emerald City Fashion Week or future tweetups, where can they find that information?
Tweetups, I post on my blog and will, of course, actively retweet on Twitter, as well as status updates for Emerald City Fashion Week. You can find either at the ECFW Twitter account, on my blog, or on the Stigmare.com blog.
And what is your blog?
My blog is blog.stevenmatsumoto.com.
Very cool. And final question, Mr. Matsumoto, where's your favorite place for lunch?
My favorite place for lunch? That actually depends on my mood. But, Chipotle's good for a quick in and out, semi-healthy meal. But here in Bellevue, there's so many great choices for food, it's hard to choose.
Hey, I can't hate on Chipotle. So, well, very cool. Mr. Matsumoto, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, Kenji.
All right, everybody, that is Steven Matsumoto, very cool guy and highly involved in social media here in Seattle. So go out, meet him, and say hello.